we go. Good evening, everybody. Welcome, Had quite the exciting week. Past 2 weeks of travel, and the last time I think we were venturing like this, we were doing the trucker protest. Yeah, it's been a busy, productive, great kind of week. I'm excited to tell you guys all about it. I'm going to jump into Kambo. It's exciting that Ashley is at the stage of getting ready to do Kambo ceremonies for people and retreats, that sort of thing, and being able to have the honor of experiencing Kambo, having Ashley administer it to me, and going through my Kambo initiation this week has been one of the coolest things. Um, decided to make little patterns and designs out of the Kambo dots, and then it will ultimately make this one's going to make like an armband going around. Wash, rinse, repeat the pattern, and then the other one that I got going on was I did. Oh my goodness, I cannot see it because of the light on my beard or something along those lines. There, kind of get the lighting right. And what's the most impressive part about Kambo is you're going through this initiation that feels like it should be painful. And the truth is, even though the skin is singed off, it's really no different than if you're giving your blood for those diabetes sugar blood test things. You get your finger just enough to get the top layer of skin out of the way, so you can get at that bloodstream. Even though Kambo is done through burning to singe that top layer of skin off, the healing component in the cream that they give to you is called dragon's blood. You'll have to look it up. I don't entirely understand how it works. But you do not feel pain. You do initially as it's happening, but the healing process is self-sustained, and by the next morning you feel nothing, and your skin is okay and good to touch, and there's no swelling or yeah, anything. It's really a beautiful experience. By comparison, if you get a tattoo, your skin is raw as hell for like a week, and Kambo, you're good to go the next day. It's heartwarming, it's touching. Um, when I was going over telling my experience about Kambo with you guys, Ashley was really interested in having me tell you guys about my intentions and the inner soul work of what takes place during Kambo. And one thing that came up specific to Kambo was the intention of always doing better. We can always do better for ourselves. We can always do better for other people, for how we can interact with and be to other people. We can always do better. And communication has always been a very prominent, centered point of focus over the last year that I found in a lot to do with the throat chakra. And what came across to me through Kambo is being able to really get in touch with that articulate side, being able to make that connection, that social piece of being able to go out into a crowded room of strangers and socialize and enjoy it. And for myself, I've always been more on the side of the soloist, where I'm good with other people, but I'm usually good because I just keep to myself and I don't really interact. I would just watch. Whereas after having gone through Kambo, I'm experiencing so much more social behavior, and the emotions behind it are not that of anxiety or worry, but as from a place of peace, from a place of confidence. And I would highly recommend Kambo for anybody who wants to deal with that social anxiety. From my experience, I found that the intention to do better for myself and do better for other people made me realize that the best way to do better for other people is to get that connection to expressing your feelings and emotions into a productive sentence that will get results. Expressing yourself in a manner of business almost, as when there is a problem, you have a solution. And I've spoken with many, many people, and they talk about the social anxiety, and everybody wants that magic pill. Kambo for me so far has been that, how quickly a turnaround between a matter of days, from say socially awkward in, like I said, a large room of strangers to just being very much connected and at peace with it, and being able to use that as a form of meditative happiness in the moment. Being present in the moment is also affected by Kambo. It's been something I've been working on, and definitely something that was a big lesson in my last hero journey. And what's beautiful about Kambo is it enhances any other of the medicines that you are working with. So it's designed that you do Kambo first, and then you take a trip or a journey or a ayahuasca session after, and the Kambo enhances the effects, which is really really awesome. It reminds me similar to the Bobbin Insa um, drops that you can take. I'm not pronouncing it correctly at all. Um, and it enhances the effects as well. And I've experienced that goes really good again with high doses of mushrooms and cannabis as well. It's supposed to help have lucid dreams, which would also be really good with lotus flower as well. And I guess to give you guys kind of a rundown of my thoughts for the summer is to help everybody out there understand the different medicines and how they can help. One goal for me is to go through a few different ones and experiment and experience it so that I can help share that with you guys and get that information to you, similar to how I experimented with nutmeg tea, and I was able to bring that experience to you. Right now I'm able to sit here and talk about Kambo and bring that to you. So I'm excited to continue on with the summer and see what other medicines that I'm able to work with myself and then express to you how it can be best used. One thing that I learned over the weekend is that they have the best non-alcoholic concept of a beer in cannabis form. Cannabis beer, ladies and gentlemen, and if you are trying to quit drinking, I'll get more into this in detail in just a second. But this is something that I'm going to highly recommend, just as a peer review, and how I found that this one tool was actually able to aid and assist over the weekend as well. I make sure that I give you guys a full description of the Kambo before I move on, though. The next part of the Kambo ceremony that is something that I'm humbled by being able to work with. I'm humbled by all of them. This one's the Sananga. Comes in the Kambo kit, which is so cool because it's just magical eye drops that if you need glasses or if you have trouble seeing, if you have eye issues, these eye drops are said to just naturally cure you of any say this I want to say ophthalmological. I'm having a Nemo moment trying to say an enemy. Um, any eye issues, they'll fix it. And Ashley herself was able to cure her eyes so she doesn't need glasses in just a few sessions of working with Sananga. And being able to work with this with the Kambo, again, the Kambo is going to enhance the effects of the Sananga. One thing that I've noticed as a side product of working with Sananga is in very dark rooms. I'm not going to say that you can see brighter, but I've only done Sananga a few times. I'm noticing that I'm able to see lights as the kind of light receptors that you get when you close your eyes, and you know how you can still kind of see light coming in through your eyelids. It's like that, but your eyes are open. And I'm curious to see what these light particles that I'm picking up on are. And I feel that working with Sananga over time will develop this into something that will be a skill. And one thing that I do as part of a yoga practice is do a lot of dark training, do a lot of being able to just find your way around the house blindfolded or in the basement at night when everything's black and just keep the light there. It gives you a great sense of balance. It gives you a really great sense of comfort and confidence if the lights ever do go out and you know your own terrain. And I'm excited to be able to incorporate the Sananga and whatever these black lights are that I'm able to see. It's hard to describe it when it's completely black. You see light in the dark, but that's the best way that I could describe it. It's really cool. And as for the Kambo experience, the first time when I did my arm on day one, there was no purge. It was more on the what's called Sapo side. There's Sapo and Kambo. Sapo is Kambo but without a water purge. Kambo is you intentionally drink a lot of water and it helps you cleanse your system as your stomach gives the contractions to vomit and clear out those toxins as it acts as a natural body detox. And day one, for whatever reason, there was no purge. There was just a really wonderful, calming sense of peace and happiness. And it was uh, all around relaxing vacation moment that lasts a lifetime in a short time span of the ceremony, which only was about 2 or 3 hours. And it's something that you really will hold with you. I always think of the movie Inside Out, where they have those core memories as marbles. It becomes one of those core memories. And it gives you a sense that this sense of peace, it comes with you. It's not like some trips or experiences where you get this really great blast of insight and warm, fuzzy, tingly feelings in the moment. And you feel like Ebenezer Scrooge when he wakes up on Christmas Day. But after a few days, things happen in life. It gets messy, and you have these emotional triggers. And eventually, previously, I'd noticed that happy-go-lucky, confident feeling would wear off the more the agitating things around you take place. But what's interesting with Kambo over the last week, I've had 2 sessions and going for a third session possibly tomorrow or Tuesday, is that happy, calm feeling. It has remained with me over a very busy, intense week of travel. And it's made things more beautiful. Things just feel like they work. After Kambo is the more noticeable effect that I've experienced. Day two, session two, I did purge. It was when I chose to do it on my shoulder and kind of like getting a tattoo. If anybody else has ever experienced this, your body will tell you where it wants it. Because the truth is, you sit down for these kind of things, and your body does this self scan and thinks, I'm going to be hurt today. What area is okay with this? What area feels good, tough, strong, confident? What's a great area to handle just a little bit of agitation? And because I've known a few people who did the diabetes blood pressure thing, I feel it similar to that, that you're going to wake up and every day you're going to have 10 choices of which finger's going to feel the best. And Ashley was confused that I was going to two different parts of my body for the dots and the designs, but the truth is the medicine in my body guided me and I was able to purge on the second day. And what was helpful is because by that second session, as I said, we'd gone through some agitations and issues and time delays, and you're trying to coordinate things with people, it gets confusing. And there was a surprise birthday party set up on top of travel, set up on top of work, set up on top of, you know, whatever you got going on. I'm sure you get it. And by session two, I had felt anger and irritated. And so, because I went into the Kambo ceremony in kind of a grumpy mood, I knew to expect a purge. And I would relate this to when you're having a psychedelic experience, and you're going into it kind of like you've had that bad day, I need a drink moment. It's gonna affect it differently than the first experience where I went into it peace of mind and it enhanced peace of mind. The Cambo, I went into it a little grumpy, kind of mad, and it calmed me down in a beautiful get in touch with your body. And what I mean by that is you really notice your heartbeat, and it's very calming and soothing. And it gets you in touch with your body that way. And it gives you peace. It gives you that centered focus. And you purge out those negative feelings that you know don't serve you. You know, nobody actually wants to feel angry all the time. Once we get past the fact that, yeah, sometimes we tell ourselves we do because we don't know how else to express it or release it. When you keep these emotional states of agitation internalized, it turns into physical ailments, headaches, stress rashes, itches, hiccups, hiccups, um, arthritis. It's been proven scientifically that autoimmune can be caused by stress, just daily stress factors. And a big piece of healing autoimmune is controlling your environment. Kambo definitely aids in controlling your internal environment. So I'm excited for stage three. I'm curious to know if it's going to be more of a heavy purge or if it's going to be more like the first time and enhance that happy peace feeling. Going over a checklist of things to cover in my head because we've been on the road. I was able to do an over amount of footnotes ahead of time. I believe I've covered everything about Kambo. It's really cool. Um, for anybody who is unfamiliar, what I think is the most fascinating part about what Campbell is, where it comes from, for me, is it's like the people who work with the snake venom. and they're spider venom, and they make their own inoculations by basically just I believe snake venom's done about the same way. You just scratch the surface of the skin and you put a drop of diluted venom into you, and then your body makes the immunities to that venom. And this is how animal workers are able to A, succeed at safely working with the animals, and B, getting into the scientific study of what these chemical components, natural occurring chemical components, can be used for. And what's fascinating about the frog animal being a scuba diver and getting an appreciation for swimming in clean water versus swimming in just natural lake water, you feel how gunky some water pools can be, and there's water that you just don't go swimming in because it's not safe. And with Kambo, the frogs swim in this water, and they have this natural word is gone penicillin. You have this natural antibiotic is the word I'm looking for, component that comes out of the frog's skin, and it creates this waxy coat around it, and it keeps the frog safe and completely protected in these really gunky, sludgy swamp waters. And this is the amount of immunity that it offers our bodies to work with it as a natural inoculation. And it's even called nature's vaccine, is working with Kambo. And the people who work with it swear up and down that once you've had Kambo in your system, you stop getting sick. And these are people who have tried it a few times to people who like it so much it just becomes part of their lifestyle. And whereas instead of having a booster every 7 fucking months, you can do a Campo ceremony every 7 months, once a year. You can do as many as you like, and your body becomes more tolerant to the chemical every time. So just think of an immune system that always just keeps improving and getting stronger the more you do it. It's hilarious that when you look up the mainstream comments about Cambo, as said by like Healthline, yeah, they'll tell you something very different, and it's extremely misleading, and it's very rude, and it's not well portrayed for what it is at all. With Camo, the only warning that I've really heard about it is you should avoid it if you already have a pre-existing heart problem. And that's kind of a common sense area in every aspect of society, going right down to going to the carnival. You shouldn't go on swirly rides if you have heart problems. And, they tell you these things for just a basic. If you're not in a good health condition, don't overexert yourself. Um, but yeah, when you're researching Cambo, make sure that you look around and don't just read the first few things that you come across. There's a lot of information on it. I've been researching it all week because I'm participating and partaking in the ceremonies, and there's so much more to learn. And I could probably talk forever on it and still not cover it. So, just to recap, this spring we are doing Kambo ceremonies, and if this is something that you are interested in, definitely get in contact with us, and we'll let you know we're ready and set up for ceremonies and retreats for these rituals. Weather at this point very cold. We've had a bloody friggin' snow blizzard following us around as we traveled. My mind goes to all the synchronicities and singularities that you see on your pathway to getting to where you want to be. And again, to reiterate to anybody new watching at this point, my goals for working with these medicines is that I've been able to cure myself of anxiety, depression, insomnia, friggin' paranoia, PT, never doctor prescribed, but from what I have understood, there's been PTSD trace elements to it that I've been able to overcome working with different variations of plant medicine, and not even that many. Just a small combination, like taking 3 different vitamins a day, and it's like every problem you've ever fucking had goes away. I haven't had a migraine since August last year. Had one minor headache and it went away with a microdose. I've been able to cure post concussion syndrome and social anxieties. And there's so much more to learn. I'm excited to see what comes of the Sananga. I'm only a few days into it. So, in 5, 6 months' time, being able to keep track and take notes on my scientific studies and research of myself, I feel as that of a bit of a scientist at this point, learning all these different miracle cures. And this is going to be a good segue into where I want to go next. The other element that I've been able to go through and cure, um, fractal of this last week as well, is when I was younger, I had alcohol cause some serious issues with myself too. Um, Crutch for ill behavior, something you can blame when things go wrong, then it becomes a negative tool, alcohol, something you can use as an excuse to get away with stupid shit. And, in the past, I burned bridges and knew that it was something that needed to go. And there's a method that I was able to use to quit drinking cold turkey at the time that I'm going to share with you guys today. And to make the connection of how well these plant medicines work and help you when you're dealing with these kind of addictions. I was able to cure myself of a fucking 22-year video game addiction using plant medicines. I got my time back. I got the ability to be present in the moment back. I got to get out and experience real memories of real people and real situations, and not just something that somebody else designed for me to watch on a fucking loop with ads. And it helps you quit smoking. Ashley used it to quit smoking herself, and she's been sober 8 years, and she's been working with some plant medicines for 20, and that ratio alone gives you a bit of a guideline to it's not just taking the plant medicine and it falls into place. There's some work and some inner soul searching to do as well, and being honest with yourself. So this week, I was able to do a bit of a social experiment for myself. And at this party, there was some alcohol, and I don't drink. As I said, I had given that up, and I was able to go cold turkey on alcohol, go 10 years. About that. Yeah, 22, 23, and I'm 35 now. So in our connoisseur's shop, we have, this is called Bedfellows. And this is weed beer, ladies and gentlemen. It tastes identical to a beer. It is weed, or sorry, cannabis. Um, this one in particular has 7.5 THC and 2.5 milligrams of CBD. The effect of this is equivalent to a microdose, and it feels the same as one beer. It just gives you that one shot buzz. And what's so interesting is you are completely clear of mind. Your senses are enhanced like you get when you are drunk. All your senses go a little bit haywire. So your hearing gets enhanced, but it gets muffled as well. And your vision kind of gets the same. This has nothing, no adverse side effects. You're so clear headed and you feel so good. And it wears off within about 45 minutes. I was timing myself. And by the point where everybody needed more drinks, um, you know, someone like myself was in a position to actually be clear headed and able to drive, especially when it came to everybody being able to go home. And so it gives you that safety, it gives you that ability to, when it's going to wear off. It lets you be in the social environment where you partake and you experience everything in the same manner, but it also allows you to quit drinking. It acts as the perfect non alcoholic beer, which is what I used as a method back when I quit cold turkey. Is anytime I felt that need, um, as I said, had a bad day, need a drink, right? I would go for a non-alcoholic, and it's bland and it's kind of yucky and not the coolest, but it worked for me psychologically. This is so much more enticing. It will allow you to drink and quit drinking at the same time. Not that you're supposed to mix it with alcohol, but the way I said it kind of sounded that way. And it occurred to me when I was talking to some of these people who were expressing to me how much that they really, really, really want to quit drinking. And anytime that it's offered at a party, it's just a reminder of that diet that we're going to start tomorrow. It's a reminder of that exercise program that we're gonna start tomorrow, you know. And the first step is the hardest. It's like writer's block. When you sit down and you're just beginning and it's a fresh slate, sometimes it's the hardest to know what to do and where to go. And I'm really hoping that being able to give you guys this information about Kambo, about the cannabis beer, it's amazing. And you'll be able to heal. And especially with this one, the CBD has the medical healing component in it. So you're kickstarting your body's healing process by doing exactly what your body wants to be doing in the first place. And it offers you that relief as well. Now, I only had one. I can't speak for dosages. Um, it's I was told it works like an edible, which if you've ever eaten too many edibles, you'll know that it then acts like a severe sleep aid, and you can knock yourself out for a solid day or longer. And that runs into issues with, if you have a job and you need to be places or have something important that you're going to miss. So I don't know how many of these are safe to drink at a time. That would be something that you guys could look up. Maybe let me know. I do my research in my spare time. I just can't speak too much on it now. Malted barley. And it feels a little bit better than just being the water person. Which is it's strange because there's this stigma that if I go out with everybody else, if other people are drinking and I'm not, then I'm gonna somehow take away from their experience or take away from my experience. And the thing is that you don't. You can still have the same experience and you can still interact and have a good time with socializing. Again, then that comes into that social key. People feel anxiety and people feel socially awkward and people don't know how to hold a conversation. The basic topics that we're programmed to talk about are war and fear and COVID and war, COVID, fear, shit. Fuck. Brain doesn't even want to go there. And so that was where the Cambo connected with it, and it opened up that space to be better for other people, be able to sit with someone, be really present with them, and have a wholehearted, open conversation. It feels good. All this lockdown shit for friggin' whatever 2 years and whatnot, things go back to normal. You get that healing, that environment where your body feels safe. When you're on lockdown and you're isolated and you're hiding and your body literally is being told by the news if you go outside you'll catch something and get sick and die. You are then hibernating and you're in fight or flight, and then the opioid death overdoses skyrockets and the suicide rates fucking skyrocket. And then we're left in a situation where people can go back to socializing, and there are those of us who are afraid to. And by working with these plant medicines, you are able to heal through this. Working with Ashley, working with me, getting to sit down and let me help you with my emotional chakra system to analyze where your head's at and how your emotions are tied into these physical ailments and then be able to free it. That's a big part of the work too. But if you're doing the work, it's just like any educational piece. If you're retaining the information and doing the exercises and like learning any skill, like if you're learning navigation and survival to go hang out in the woods, for 2 weeks with nothing but a rock and a lighter to survive off of, you're gonna have to do the work to get through it. And this healing aspect, healing addictions, quitting addictions, working with some of these medicines that are very powerful, very potent, can be scary, but it's doable. And you can do it. You have to want to. I saw too much over the last week of how people's addictions can drive their focus so far off of where your goal wants to be. And, the same with the alcohol. And then you get stuck in the loop of my goal is to quit drinking, but I'm not at my goal yet, so I'm sad, so I'm gonna keep drinking, you know. And it takes your willpower because for anybody who ever watched The Big Bang Theory, they always did this funny thing with Sheldon and his rival, and how much the guy is in Sheldon's head, and how he's always just ruminating on it and sitting and plotting revenge all the time, as his life's work is to have this rivalry, and we get that way too. And working with the plant medicines are able to let us go, let these things go. And it's when we're stuck in this ruminating state that we want something that's going to be able to help us with that release, that let go. Things like cannabis and psilocybin, Kambo, these are all things that will help you from that emotional state. When you put your body into that state of relaxation and it removes itself from thinking everything around it's going to kill it all the fucking time, your ailments start to go away. Some people have literally worked themselves to death because they just get their priorities so off kilter and it's chasing those addictions. And just think of Ahab and the whale, Moby Dick, a perfect example of somebody who their whole life is just lost, just pursuing the one thing. And there's so many other things that we could be doing. Kambo, my intention. How can I do better for myself? How can I get out of my own way to get that healing in? And it's these moments of clarity that come from working with plant medicine. Then we're here to guide you because you're going to get these pieces of information, and sometimes you're not going to know what to make of it, what to do with it. We're here to help. So if you want to quit drinking, if you want to quit smoking, substituting with plant medicines is wonderful. Bedfellows, weed beer. It's not actually called weed beer, but I don't know what else to refer to it as. Is great. If you want to quit drinking, I would go for this 100%. Be careful of your dosage. Do your research. Start healing. You guys all owe it to yourselves to be able to take that time, give it to yourself. Pick that diet that starts today. Pick that exercise that starts today. Or schedule it in. If today really is not the right day, then schedule it in. Make an event. Make it a ceremony. Plan a date. Give it a surprise party for yourself the day that you are reborn. Go from there. If you found the following helpful, please let us know. Share it with a friend, share it with a family member, give us a testimony to how the information that you found through us was able to help your life change. And you can give us reviews if you've worked with us. And you can help other people understand what it is that we do here by referring them to us. Especially if you know anybody who wants to quit drinking, who wants to quit smoking, who wants to quit being angry, who wants to deal with anger management. That's something psilocybin will help with. If you know somebody who wants to deal, yeah, again, insomnia, anxiety, depression, there's methods and combinations that heal all of it. I'm so excited to proceed with Kambo to be able to further express to you guys how impressive this stuff is. See you all next week.